What's up, gamers? This is ICHTHY here, and I'm bringing you some more Beasts of Bermuda gameplay. Today, the map that we're going to be playing on is the Rival Shores map. This map is most well defined by the three different islands that make it up: the desert, forest, and jungle islands. In between each one of these islands are large bodies of water, and this ends up leading to a map where semi-aquatic and aquatic dinosaurs have a lot of rain. And it's for these reasons that I've decided to play the Ichthyovenator, which is a semi-aquatic piscivore similar to the Spinosaurus. The moment that I spawn in, I see that a T-Rex is spawning in the same area on the beach behind me. I make towards the water because that's where my strong suit is. We're going to start this build off by putting 3 points into the Aqua Affinity talent. This is going to increase the speed of us in the water. 3 points in this talent will also grant us the ability to highlight schools of fish in the water, making them easier to find and catch. Fish are going to be the primary source of sustenance for the Ichthyovenator and Beast of Bermuda. Not only are they easy to find and catch, but they also respawn in the same place every time. With our increased aquatic mobility and the ability to highlight them in the water, we'll have no problem keeping ourselves well fed with the plenty of fish found around us. Food, water, and shelter being our primary goals, we start to look for an island to set ourselves up on, rest, and grow. It shouldn't be too hard to find because the Ichthyovenators have the ability to dash through the water with this little spin move. We end up finding our island without any problem. However, when we're set up, I notice something in the top left, and we come under attack by the T-Rex who we saw in spawn earlier. He does a lot of damage to us before we can make it to the water, but the moment that we're in the water, our mobility is vast compared to his. I decide to take this opportunity while he tries to cross the water to deal a little bit of the damage that he dealt to us back. He really caught me by surprise, but now that he is in my element, I'll show him that this was a terrible mistake. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to get him, but I like to think that I did a lot of damage, and at the very least hurt his feelings and his pride. After one final dart miss, I have to give up on this hunt and let him get to shore. There's no way if I follow him onto shore that I'm going to win this fight. The T-Rex just does way more damage than I do. I end up following him further down the shore after I've rested and find the pack that he was grouping up with. Now that he's found more protection, there's no way that I can mess with him, so I head on to better things. I make my way to another island where there's a fresh water source located, and I'm also lucky enough to find a piece of free meat. I go ahead and try to fill up my hunger bar, but when I'm doing so, I'm attacked by a bird. I try to defend the meat and get as full as I possibly can, but I know that he's going to fight me off of it, and he does a surprising amount of damage to me. I run for the water in the hopes that if he tries to engage me in there, that I'll have a fighting chance. Because the way that this fight's currently going, it looks like I'm about to have to reset my playthrough. Luckily, he misses his final attack, and I dive down as quickly as I can. I think I've escaped, and I have. I'll have to find fresh water in another location, but the most important thing for now was just simply escaping. I find my way to another island, and am able to rest up for a short period of time. However, I know that even this temporary comfort during the growth storm might get me further, but I'll need to stay here for quite some time to fully heal my wounds, and that may not be time that I have. Sure enough, while I'm resting, a megalosaurus comes out of the water and onto the land while I'm resting. I immediately try to make a getaway into the water when I spot him, and thankfully so, because a megalosaurus at this size likely would have killed me with a single bite. I find suitable shelter on dry land and heal myself up, but it's not very long even there before I notice the icon in the top left indicating that an enemy dinosaur is close by. I have to get away and get away into the water. I end up swimming to the other side of the island where I find a very large school of fish to heal myself up and find plenty of food. This school of fish right here is super useful. It's extremely close to the waterfall that we're about to go to and rest up for a very long amount of time, and there's way more than a single person needs, so that means that even if I find a friend or two, there'll still be enough food to keep us all fed. Right after that, I find some yellow sponges, which is the equivalent of underwater yellow flowers. They give us comfort, which helps us grow faster. I rest up on the shore, test out some emotes, and am generally just trying to avoid the AFK boredom while I rest up and grow large enough to fight. At the waterfall nearby, there's a rock overhang which allows me to get 100% shelter, which will protect me from any inclement weather as well as increase my growth rate. The waterfall up above is fresh water, and it's going to allow me to have great mobility for traversing the land, looking for things such as free meat and flowers to grab whenever I decide to traverse the river. I find a free piece of meat while I'm inland, and since I'm full on food already, decide to take it back to my base. I'll use this piece of meat away from my base for two reasons. One, if a pterosaur spots it, they won't immediately find my own location, and setting it close to the water like this may lure in another predator. This ends up not working, so when a flooding event begins, I team up with a group of Ichthyovenators, and we're going to try and hunt while we're in our element. It isn't too long until one of our members gets ambushed by a mosasaur. He's got a really cool skin, which makes me initially quite afraid of him, but I know that he's no match for a group of Ichthyovenators. Using my dash move to outmaneuver him, I keep hitting free hits on him, and I know that I'm starting to get low. Just trying to get on his tail and get free damage. My entire pack is working together with me at this moment. However, the orange bar in the bottom right is the indicator of how much attack power I have. I'll end up running out of attack power in this fight before I kill him, which means I'll have to back off. With no attack power left, I can't use my dash move, so I use the last little bit that I have to create some distance and then regenerate it. I'm hoping that my team will keep tail on him, but we end up losing him sadly. While I'm looking for him, we get attacked by an elasmosaurus. This guy's on my tail and I don't know which angle he's coming from, and I'm already low. He ends up almost getting me, but I narrowly escape and make it out of the water. This is one of the closest calls that I end up having in this playthrough. We find some free meat on the way to the waterfall. I decided to take these guys back to my base once the flooding event ended because they're all a lot smaller than me and I wouldn't mind to grow up a little bit more myself. However, while I'm making it into this water, I end up finding our friend the elasmosaurus from earlier and he attacks me. He's been hunting us for about a solid 8 or 9 minutes now and he does a lot more damage than us. We have to be extremely careful of him. Despite the annoyance and persistence hunting by this person, we're going to keep on making our way towards the waterfall. I introduced them to the school of fish that I was using to feed myself earlier, and they much appreciate it as everyone fills up their food bar. At this point, the Ichthyovenator's dash has become incredibly powerful, and I can use it to traverse a lot of distance in a very short amount of time. I introduced my friends to this little sponge reef over here, and now it's time to take them to the waterfall. Up until this point, I feel like things have gone pretty smoothly for us. However, things start to go awry whenever we jump into the river at the waterfall. There ended up being a mosasaurus camping in there, and we begin to try and kill him. We scare him enough to get him into the water, but he's injured both of my teammates, so I'm the only one left to go and hunt him. And it ends up resulting in a pretty epic battle between the two of us. At this point, I can tell that I've done considerable damage to him and that he's trying to get away. I keep on him, trying to finish up and go in for the kill. However, he starts to use the final advantage that he has against me. Being a semi-aquatic dinosaur and him being a fully aquatic dinosaur, he's able to dive to a deeper depth than I am. I won't be able to follow him in the depth, and he uses this to eventually get away from me. Disappointed by the failure of this hunt, I end up going back to the group just to heal up and rest. However, this is where the real tragedy of the run occurs. Whenever I go into the water, we're attacked by a herd of Lurtosaurus. Lurdosaurus is the semi-aquatic herbivore equivalent to the Ichthyovenator. These guys hit really hard and were absolutely outnumbered. I try to fight these guys, but end up getting split up from the group. I know that they're getting torn apart, but at least in a one-on-one, I seem to be handling myself pretty well. Sadly, it's only a matter of time after they finish my guys that they end up getting on top of me, getting me low, and I have no option but to run. There's nowhere left for me to go. They outspeed me, outdamage me, and outnumber me. And this is sadly the end of the run for my Ichthyovenator. However, I did achieve a pretty high score this game, getting almost to 1.2 and having a lot of fun doing so. I just wanted to say thank you so much, guys, for the incredible support on these first 2 videos and the channel overall so far. Please let me know if you liked this type of content, and if so, what type of dinosaur you'd like to see next.